block becomes one video segment. Everything else in the block is narration, read aloud by the TTS voice. Keep each scene's narration to roughly 100 to 180 words so no single image sits on screen too long. Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is sitting with less than $50 to their name, no degree, no connections, no safety net. And in a few years, that same person will be a millionaire. This isn't a fantasy. It's happened thousands of times, and it follows a pattern that almost nobody talks about. Today we're breaking down 3 real people who started with nothing, what they actually did differently, and the exact principles you can copy starting this week. Stick around to the end, because the last lesson is the one most people skip, and it's the one that matters most. Let's start with Chris Gardner. In the early 1980s, Chris was a single father in San Francisco with a toddler son and no place to live. For almost a year, they slept in homeless shelters, train station bathrooms, and sometimes on the floor of a church. Most people in that position spend all day just trying to survive, and that's completely understandable. But Chris made one unusual choice. He took an unpaid internship at a stock brokerage while he was still homeless, betting that the skill he'd built there was worth more than any paycheck he could get elsewhere. He studied every night, sold medical equipment during the day to cover basic costs, and kept showing up. Eventually that internship turned into a full-time job, and years later he built his own brokerage firm. He went from sleeping in a bathroom with his son to running a multi-million-dollar company. His story is not about luck. It's about choosing to invest in a skill when it would have been easier to just take any job that paid immediately. Next, Sarah Blakely. Before she was a billionaire, she was selling fax machines door to door, getting rejected constantly. At night, she kept coming back to one small idea, a better kind of undergarment that didn't exist yet. She had about $5,000 in savings. That was her entire budget. No investors, no team, no manufacturing background. She wrote her own patent application by reading a book from the library because she couldn't afford a lawyer. She called manufacturers herself and got rejected by almost every single one, until one finally agreed to help after his own daughters convinced him the idea was good. She kept her day job the entire time she was building this. That company became Spanx, and Sarah became one of the youngest self-made female billionaires in the world, all starting from $5,000 and a library book. Our third story is John Paul DeJoria. He was homeless not once but twice in his life, at one point collecting soda cans for change and living in his car. He'd been fired from multiple jobs. On paper, nothing about his situation suggested success was coming. He borrowed $700 and partnered with a hairdresser to start a hair care company, going door to door to sell it because they had no money for advertising. That company became Paul Mitchell Hair Products. Years later he co-founded Patron Tequila the same way, starting small and reinvesting everything. Today his companies are worth billions, and he still tells people the 2 years he spent homeless taught him more about business than any classroom could. So what do these 3 stories actually have in common? It's not luck, and it's not some secret talent they were born with. First, all 3 of them started while still broke. They didn't wait until they had savings or the right time. Second, they picked one specific skill or product and went deep on it instead of chasing every opportunity at once. Third, they kept a source of income, no matter how small, while they built the real thing on the side. And fourth, every single one of them got rejected constantly and kept going anyway. Sarah Blakely was turned down by almost every manufacturer. Chris Gardner was homeless while interning for free. Rejection wasn't a sign to stop, it was just part of the process. Here's the part most videos like this skip. None of these people had a perfect plan. They had a next step. If you're starting with nothing today, you don't need a business degree or a loan. You need one skill worth learning, one small offer you can make to someone this month, and 1 hour a day you're willing to protect no matter how tired you are. That's genuinely how all 3 of these stories began. If this gave you even one idea worth acting on, subscribe, because every 2 weeks we're breaking down another real story of someone who built wealth from absolutely nothing, along with the exact steps you can take this week. Drop in the comments what skill you'd bet on if you were starting from zero today. See you in the next one.